Prince and the Revolution Parade. I'm sorry. That's it.
The last thing that bothered him was the passing of his favorite artist, Prince. D'Angelo said that he was told that Prince was set up by Jay-Z.
He came to me. I didn't even have the nerve to call him and say, like, he came to me and said, I know what you're doing. I'm going to give you all of my work.
Tidal was standing alone as the only streamer to have access to the icon's music. The Prince estate is now suing Jay-Z's Roc Nation for copyright
We need to talk about this new D'Angelo rumor because people are out here claiming that they have real receipts that D'Angelo blamed Jay-Z for Prince's death. Apparently, D'Angelo told some of his family members that Jay-Z tried to take advantage of Prince and trick him into giving ownership of his music to Tidal, which later led to Prince's estate filing a lawsuit against Roc Nation. And that last part is a fact. Prince's estate really did sue Jay-Z and Roc Nation. But for some reason, that story got swept under the rug quickly. So is there any truth to this rumor that Jay-Z was somehow involved in Prince's downfall? What exactly did D'Angelo discover about Jay that made him worried about Prince?
The music business runs like this. You'll have a manager, you'll have an attorney, you'll have various record company people. Everybody's taking a cut of everything that you do. So when you're in the fold, when you're in the club and everybody's getting a piece of everything, your tour, your publishing, any endorsements, and when they're getting a piece of all of that, you will have hit records. The moment you step away from that and you want to, in fact, take control of your own life, your own experience, then you'll find you're not hot anymore.
For years now, people have been side-eyeing the music industry and connecting the dots between the sudden deaths of icons like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, and others, mainly because these were artists who didn't hold back when it came to calling out the major labels. But Prince wasn't just complaining about label control. He went to extremes to try to shake himself loose from it. Prince was barely 18 when he signed his first deal with Warner Music, stepping into the industry with a level of talent most artists never touch in their entire careers. And by 1984, once Purple Rain hit, it was over. He became a global phenomenon practically overnight. And that's exactly when Prince started using that newfound superstar power to push back. He wanted ownership, he wanted freedom, and he wanted to control his work without a label dictating the terms. By 1985, Prince launched his own label, Paisley Park Records. And for the next run of 8 albums, he was basically unstoppable, creatively, commercially, in every way. It was one of those rare stretches where an artist gets complete freedom and actually delivers masterpiece after masterpiece. But that smooth chapter didn't last forever. As the early 90s rolled in, cracks started showing in his partnership with Warner Music. By 1993, the tension had boiled over. Prince and the label had a very public clash over money, ownership, and who actually got to call the shots. And instead of quietly playing along, Prince decided to put the whole situation on blast. He showed up in public with the word slave written across his face as a direct message aimed right at Warner. It was his way of telling the world exactly how trapped he felt under their contract, and it shocked the entire industry. And then came the move that really sent the industry scrambling. Prince ditched his own name and replaced it with that now iconic, unpronounceable symbol. Nobody knew what to call him anymore. People ended up saying the symbol, the squiggle, or the timeless nickname that stuck for years, the artist formerly known as Prince. It was disruptive, confusing, and absolutely intentional. And it forced everyone to confront just how far Prince was willing to go to expose everyone.
I had searched deep within my heart and spirit, and I wanted to make a change and move to a new plateau in my life. And one of the ways in which I did that was to change my name. It sort of divorced me from the past and all the hang-ups that go along with it.
Prince later said Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and then used it as the main marketing tool to promote all the music that I wrote. The company owns the Prince name. I became merely a pawn used to produce more money for Warner Brothers. By the way, around the same time Prince was battling out with Warner, English singer George Michael was across the pond fighting his own war with Sony. He openly called his contract professional slavery. Suddenly, 2 massive artists were publicly dragging their labels, and the entire industry started looking shaky. But Prince still couldn't completely break away from Warner. The contract kept him locked in, so he took another route. He started flooding the system, album after album, rapid fire releases, anything to get through the remaining obligations and get out from under the label's thumb as fast as humanly possible. They are what they are, and I am what I am. And eventually, I realized that those 2 systems aren't going to work together, Prince explained. The deeper you get into that well, the darker it becomes. Eventually, Warner Warner had had enough and shut down distribution for Prince's Paisley Park Records altogether. So Prince did what Prince always did. He pivoted. He launched a brand new imprint, NPG Records, built from the ground up with one goal in mind: total ownership and creative independence. Then he linked up with EMI, a deal that actually let him release music on his own terms without a label breathing down his neck about deadlines or commercial expectations. But even with that new freedom, Prince kept calling out the major players louder than ever. He even started saying that the big record companies were pointless, outdated, and shouldn't exist.
Became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise. And they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer. They're going to be indeed a delivery service, and that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship, right? Because ultimately, it keeps us apart, and it keeps the people in power in charge of us. So ultimately, we're going to have to learn how to be together and become one people. What I've been doing recently is studying the scriptures as deep as I can, so that that's what gives me the optimism. And I would advise anybody, if you want to feel like there's some hope in this joint, pick up the book and read it and get somebody to actually show you what's going on in it, because it's a real thing. You don't hear a lot of young people talking about things like I talk about, because they really haven't lived. They haven't gone through a lot of experiences yet, and we can't really expect them to. It's just not all a party, alcoholism and promiscuity. Get some elders up in here and let's talk about all this. Distribution service. What do we really need record companies for? Really.
During this period, Prince basically became a free agent wanderer in the music world. He bounced between labels while still putting out releases through NPG, teaming up with whoever made sense in the moment: Columbia, Universal, Arista, and even looping back to Warner here and there when it suited him. At the same time, he kept using his platform to push a message that made the labels nervous. Artists should guard their independence at all costs. He urged musicians to shop around, partner up when it benefits them, and to never lock themselves into a single label that can dictate their every move.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. There's nothing minor about you.
But at one point, Prince got so fed up with the whole music industry circus that he admitted he wished he'd picked a totally different career path. He told the LA Times, "If I knew the things I know now before, I wouldn't be in the music industry." And in another interview that went viral with Rolling Stone, Prince didn't hold back at all, saying, "If I can't do what I want to do, what am I?" When you stop a man from dreaming, he becomes a slave. That's where I was. I don't own Prince's music. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you. Then in 2007, Prince took it even further and announced he was preparing to sue YouTube, eBay, and even the Pirate Bay for using his songs without permission. At the same time, Prince pulled all his music off every platform except Jay-Z's Tidal. He gave Tidal exclusive rights to stream his album Hit and Run, but here's where it gets messy. After Prince passed in 2016, his estate hit Roc Nation with a federal lawsuit, claiming Tidal kept streaming his entire back catalog even though Prince had only approved one album for 90 days. But of course, that didn't stop Jay-Z from flexing like he owned Prince's masters, despite the fact that Prince never actually handed them over to Tidal. Just 1 month after Prince passed, Jay-Z dropped a verse on Fat Joe and Remy Ma's All the Way Up, rapping, "Prince left his masters where they safe and sound. We never gonna let the elevator take him down." What's also bizarre is that Prince passed away almost exactly 2 years after he finally got his masters back from Warner Music. On April 18, 2014, it was announced that Prince had regained ownership of his legendary catalog. Fast forward almost exactly 2 years, and on April 21, 2016, he was found dead in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate. The timing alone gives you chills. Prince's death was officially ruled an accidental OD, but the details are sketchy. According to the police report, he thought he was taking Vicodin to deal with pain, but the pills were fake and laced with fentanyl. Basically, he had no idea he was ingesting something deadly.
Hours after announcing a decision not to file charges in Prince's death, authorities released documents and video of his last days. Among the evidence, pictures from Paisley Park on the day Prince died, showing pills and a Bayer bottle authorities say contained the deadly counterfeit Vicodin.
Unfortunately, the subject counterfeit Vicodin pills are an exact imitation of real Vicodin pills, but the counterfeit pills contain the potentially deadly opioid fentanyl.
But just like with Michael Jackson, Prince's death sparked a ton of skepticism. Fans weren't buying the accidental OD story, with many wondering if someone deliberately slipped him those fentanyl-laced pills. Even some big names in the industry questioned the official narrative. Kanye hinted that both Michael and Prince were actually killed, and that he narrowly escaped the same fate. He shared a photo of Prince with slave written on his face and wrote in the caption, "Let's get it, big bro. You and Michael passed so we can live." And now on top of all this, some new reports are alleging that D'Angelo also had doubts about the official story of Prince's death. According to one insider who claims to have communicated with D'Angelo's family, D'Angelo believed Jay-Z was somehow involved in Prince's demise. Now, to be clear, we can't confirm or deny that this information is real or that these messages came directly from D'Angelo's family. But knowing the way Prince challenged the music industry and openly called for the destruction of record labels, it's not hard to see why rumors about foul play started swirling, especially when you consider the timing, the masters, and his outspoken battles with the powers that be. Well, let me hear your thoughts on all this. Do you think Prince's death was really just a tragic accident, or could there have been something more sinister at play? What do you make of Jay-Z's title moves and those verses bragging about Prince's masters? And with all the timing around him regaining his catalog, the laced pills, and the industry drama, does it make you question the official story? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss this next video.